Digital literacy is best defined as the knowledge, skills, and behaviors used in a broad range of digital devices. Prior to this course, I considered myself to be an experienced member of the technological culture. Having access to all the latest technology, I quickly succumbed to the screen. Even though I understood how these digital devices worked, there was still something missing. What I learned I had been missing was what Professor Selfie calls technological literacy, or people's functional understanding of what computers are and how they're used. I was using these technologies for their basic functions instead of questioning why we use them in the first place. In order to answer my questions, I needed to experiment with the tools we use while fixated on our screens. To begin this reorientation of the internet, I examined my social media use. The application Twitter was already a cornerstone of my social media experience. I've had an account since high school, which made me believe I mastered the site. My personal account was used strictly for social interaction and entertainment. Paired with the constant addiction of checking my feed, Twitter turned into a distraction. It was soon brought to my attention that there was a better way to go about using the application. An increase in involvement within the Twitter culture would transform how I would interact on social media. In order to increase my involvement, I was challenged to identify with the culture on Twitter. To create a new professional identity, I created connections with the NFL subculture and those enrolled in this course. As compared to my other account, the flow of my Twitter feed was organized and far less cluttered than my other account. Looking back at tweets from my personal account, I see a big difference in terms of substance. More importantly, I see that I neglected to engage as a member of a participatory culture, using certain functions of the apps, like the hashtag or retweet, strictly for entertainment, did not serve as a purpose to anyone other than myself. Thus, my personal account had not identified with the culture and contributed only to my personal entertainment. I needed to see that Twitter works best as a participatory culture. Jenkins describes this as a culture that's something that shifts the focus of literacy from individual expression to community involvement. Of course, there are ways in which we can improve our communal relations while on Twitter. Hashtags like the course tag help those relevant to the tag communicate. Retweets are designed to guide the flow of information from one Twitter feed to the next. Once engaged in the Twitter world, connecting via social media becomes a digital tool. In my first tweet on this account, I used the course's hashtag to share my personal life with those enrolled in the class. Other times, I contributed to this subculture by tweeting responses or thoughts I had about what we were learning in class. The changes I made in this experiment taught me you can take more out of Twitter when you move away from focusing on your personal image and move towards connecting with others. After I concluded my experiment with Twitter, I took the same approach to analyze Facebook. What I learned was that my history of Facebook has changed dramatically over the years. It went from my top choice of social media to an account that I kept around to stay connected with friends and family. Facebook, which used to be a domain for young adults, has been taken over by the elder generations, including our parents. Along with the abundance of advertisements, Facebook has lost its touch. Since the site's makeover, I acknowledge Facebook is no longer my top choice of social media. Even though I still have an account, I rarely find myself checking or updating my Facebook. The next big step I took to rediscover the internet was to create a blog. Blogs are user-created websites that allow someone to express their thoughts and interests in a creative space. Creating a blog allows that person to enter a culture where they can express their feelings or ideas about the topic. Having no prior experience with blogging, I learned how I can make my own mark on the internet. WordPress is one of the most popular domains people use to create a blog. Their service allows users to customize each post to add an interactive element to them. Another interesting function WordPress allows is the customization of a website. The freedom for creativity helps users find and create an identity on their site. As a result, those who relate to that identity find it easier to connect and learn from a given blog post. The topic I wrote about in my blog happened to be my favorite sport, football. Before I began this blog, I didn't know what Kevin Kelly meant by saying no web phenomenon is more confounding than blogging. Now this explains why I had little trouble with my blog. I began researching more about my topic each week in order to create a more creative and authentic blog post. Looking back on this experience, I take pride in each blog post I published. However, my experience with blogging was not complete until I was introduced to Storyfy. The site works by creating a post in the form of a story, hence Storyfy. To add to the creative culture, Storyfy allows users to link external media to the post. In my Storyfy posts, I featured highlight videos and player tweets to add authenticity into my writing. After completing my first blogging experience, I learned how to express my interests using a creative and interactive web page. The final services we experimented with were Zeit, Feedly, and Pocket. Zeit is both a customizable and filtered news generator. This application asks users to pick and choose from certain categories. Zeit then finds credible sources to grab articles that relate to that topic. I found Zeit to be a reliable service for current events and headlines. I use Zeit to find interesting stories that I feature in my blog. Known as an RSS reader, Feedly is a hub for various forms of online news and media. Tim O'Reilly explained RSS readers, saying RSS allows someone to link not just to a page, but to subscribe to it, with notifications every time that page changes. Feedly is structured to filter and aggregate the content of your choice. Feedly helps serve as a faster way and more efficient way to surf the web. Finally, Pocket is a service that helps save the content on the internet to be viewed later. Pocket told me that there was a way to save an entire document to be viewed later instead of skimming through it. Although I did not use Pocket as much as I thought I would, it is important enough knowing there is a service that makes surfing the web that much more convenient. Digital literacy comes very easy to those up to date in the technology world. The more advanced we make the technology, the more popular it becomes. And not only do we use it, we can't get enough of it. Just listen to Kevin Kelly, who said, "Everywhere we look, we see screens." Today, the world has become the culture that's obsessed with the internet. Everywhere you turn, more and more are fixated on a screen, making human interaction a thing of the past. Now, although I appear to be bashing the internet and the addiction it has caused, I'm still a victim. After taking the time to document my cellular usage, I noticed whenever I had free time, I was checking my phone. Sometimes I even caught myself checking the same applications more than once. As digital technologies continue to evolve, the common consumer is first in line, ready to increase their technological addiction. However, after taking this course, I was taught that the internet serves more of a purpose to us than entertainment. Instead, it is the domain that contains infinite amounts of information available for anyone willing to discover. The more we experiment with the internet, the greater our digital literacy can become. Michael West created a video that explains how every contribution made on the internet has meaning. From this, it is believed that the rapid increase in time spent on the internet will result in a digitally interconnected world. Understanding the effect we have on these technologies, I can now agree with West, who said the machine is us.